Hey guys, today I will try to explain on an example of how to overtake during the racing event. Overtaking is probably the most difficult maneuver during the race and often causes a lot of trouble and frustration to the drivers. What we can see here is a short part of the race where two drivers fight with each other for the first place. The driver on the front has a slightly slower pace, however he knows that his teammate on fresh tires is catching up to them, so he decided to defend until he goes to pit himself. Both drivers are aware of that fact and try to do their best. And as you can see, the driver in the front defends very well, making it extremely difficult to overtake at any point. After following for almost 2 laps, knowing that the other car is quickly approaching on fresh compound, the second driver decides to take the risk and push. Unfortunately, that causes the first incident over here. Luckily enough, none of the cars spun and both drivers continue.
We are currently on lap 14.
Not for long though, as right before the main straight an accident happens. The purple car hits the side of the race leader as the racing lines cut each other and they both end up on the barriers. The purple car's driver quickly rejoins the race and gains the first place, eventually gets caught by the chasing driver, who deceased moments later, allowing the purple car driver to achieve the victory in the race without any further fight. In all of that chaos, a series of mistakes from both sides were made. First of all, if we decide to attack for the position, there is no way that we can allow any contact between the cars to happen. Of course, there are factors like high ping, possible drops of frame rate and human reaction time, but if you decide to attack, it is you who is responsible for taking those factors into consideration. There are situations where drivers who are being overtaken do some unexpected, sudden moves or brake check us, and in such case, if any collision between the cars happens, it will most likely be their fault. In our case, the situation was slightly different, but the leading driver still made a small mistake by not leaving enough space on the inside of the last corner before the main straight. That shouldn't lead to the collision though, as the driver in the rear had enough time to slow down and could clearly see the line that the leader is taking, yet still decided to squeeze into the gap between him and the barrier. The entire situation was concluded a day later when the initial race winner was demoted by stewards from the first to the fourth place. The main arguments behind this decision were that the purple car driver gained an advantage and did not yield back the position to the other driver. And that's where we get to pros and cons of overtaking. So if we decide to take the risk and overtake the other driver and make a mistake in the process, we lose plenty of time on recovering from the crash, possibly risking knocking other driver out of the track, risking a time penalty or other type of repercussions. We are going out of the optimal racing line, which leaves space that may be used to overtake us. So what are the pros of overtaking in safely manner? Let's first take a look how should we do that. First of all, before you even start to overtake, consider if it's worth the risk. As we established before, overtaking is a very risky maneuver that may lead to multiple different situations that may actually make you lose time instead of gaining it. If you are on the safe position, not threatened by anyone directly, perhaps it's better just to follow the player in front if he's just slightly slower. If the difference in pace is significant, you should have no problems to overtake such person after all. It is also extremely useful to be aware of your opponent's strategy for the race. Because if that person is about to go to pit lane on the next corner, what is the point of overtaking, right? The other pros of proper overtaking are rather obvious. It allows us to keep going on time instead of just following the pack. We use less fuel and battery power while driving fast. The tire wear is lower if we don't have to brake to avoid the drivers in front of us, and so on. Just to conclude, if you are aware of your opponent's strategy, sometimes there is not even a need to overtake. But if you decided to do that, please remember, while overtaking, as long as the overtaken driver doesn't do anything stupid, it is you who is responsible for keeping it safe. So, is it worth to overtake? Yes, as long as we do that in a safely manner, and pros are bigger than cons. If you'd like to join and race with us, the Discord link is in the comment section below. We are looking for active drivers, track builders, car engineers and race control personnel. But if you just want to come by, say hi and watch the race, you are very welcome to do so.